Good evening, folks. Paul Anderson here. Welcome to How I Cramar, another of my weekly fiddle workshops. Must be about 25 or so now. Been doing it for a while, but we'll keep on going. No idea if everybody is going to look in, but I will ramble on regardless. So, was looking for tunes this afternoon, and it kind of occurred to me I hadn't really looked at any pipe marches, because it is something that as a Scottish fiddler we play quite a lot. It's a real big part of kind of competition fiddling. Actually, a lot of folk will play a pipe march, a 2/4 pipe march, rather than a 6/8 or anything else. So I thought I would take a couple of these, and it was really because I was looking through the Gordon Highlanders collection, #1. Which has got a lot of great music in it, a lot of good repertoire that I've used a lot over the years. I would probably say actually I've used the Scots Guards book, Scots Guards collection #1, even more, especially when I was younger. My brother and sister and me got a lot of music out of that book. But this is a collection I got for a birthday present in the 80s, mid to late 80s. I can't remember which birthday it was, but this is the tune I probably have played most out of this book. I used to play it as my pipe march of choice. And I'm going to start with a tune called the Brig o' Fiuch. The Brig o' Fiuch in question is the one in Banchory. The Fiuch flows into the River Dee beside the Banchory Lodge Hotel, which is a real landmark in Banchory. Great hotel. In fact, my brother David, his last wedding was there, and good pal of mine, John Stevenson, was married there, and I've been at other weddings, but it's a lovely hotel, and it's one of the places that you used to get a lot of the big names that, if they happened to come to Aberdeen, they would come and bide at the Banchory Lodge in the past. So, the Brig o' Fiuch, there are many Brigs o' Fiuch, because of course there's lots of crossings across the Fiuch. Comes down through Finghan, up about the Forest of Birse, down through Finghan, past Strahan, and down into Banchory. So this is a popular place. It's a real landmark. The old brig there is a place for folk traditionally have gone to watch the salmon run up the Fiuch, and there's some real rapids there, and when the water's rushing, it's quite something to see, and the salmon running up is just an added bonus. But it's such a popular place. There's a very popular tea room just across the road, which is award winning as it happens. So there you go, the Brig o' Fiuch. This particular tune was composed by Pipe Major Donald MacLeod, MBE, who was a piper with the Queen's Own Highlanders. And there's another two tunes of the same title. There's one by Peter Mill, which is a very fine reel, and there's also one by James Scott Skinner that I played the day, but we're going to go with the pipe march. So I'll play it through, and then we'll go back. It takes a wee while to play through pipe marches, because there are 4 parts, these 2/4 tunes. So I'll play it through, I'll take it fairly steady, then we'll talk a wee bit about style and interpretation. Okay. pretty much how I would play it. Not really much more to say about that, other than general style for this type of tune. I think the basic rule of thumb I would say for as a fiddler playing pipe tunes, you're trying to interpret this in such a way that you're trying to get close to the style of the Highland bagpipe, because it is a pipe tune, and it's a good exercise and time well spent if you're going to play this type of tune. It's actually listening to really good pipers. One of the drawbacks for a fiddler is you cannot play the same ornamentation as the pipes. It's just physically impossible, I would say. Nay, but you can still manage to colour the music with grace notes where possible, and that will give you a lot of the colouring. This type of tune, I suppose it's really a style of playing I get from my teacher Dougie Lawrence, and in turn probably, I mean, that would for him would come largely from Hector McAndrew. Hector was a great interpreter of pipe music on the fiddle, and he was highly respected by a lot of the great pipers, and that's probably because his father was a fiddler, but he was a piper and he was a good piper, so that certainly gives you an insight in how to play this type of tune. And there's, I mean, the one thing with the pipes, the flow of air through the pipes is constant, so there is a bit of a flow to the music, should be. One of the complaints you used to hear by pipers about fiddlers playing pipe tunes when I was quite young, it was quite common to hear that pipers didn't like fiddlers playing pipe music because they, especially in the northeast of Scotland, I would say they kind of hack it up a little bit. There was a tendency for some of the more rustic players to maybe you can maybe a little bit too robust with the bowing, because you can accent really successfully with a bow. You can really pull it out, but it should flow a little bit more cleanly with this type of tune, because there's a flow of air coming through the chanter and the drones, and it gives you a sense of fluency to the music. So the other things, dotted notes, pull them out nice and far. Keep the short notes short. So rather than going slow it down, that's kind of the style, and I think definitely worth listening to pipers to get a sense of tempo. That's something I think is important. Pipe marches like this are often played for Scottish country dancing, things like Canadian barn dance and that sort of thing, but much quicker, so the tempo for that is going to be it'll be cracking on a fair bit. But I as a soloist who's trying to interpret the music, I would certainly play it as much in keeping with the pipe style as possible. But I mean, obviously you can play it on a damn speed you like. I'm not telling you native, but I'm explaining why I choose to play it like this, and again, I suppose that can vary a wee bit. But anyway, key thing is I like the tune. It's the main reason I would play this tune, but I do try to keep it as much as I can in the style of the pipes. So let's play through it, if indeed you are sitting there with an instrument. I'll take it really steady, and we might just move on to the next tune after this, because this takes a while, 4 parts. Okay, after 3, 2, 3. going to stop you there. That bit there, the eagle-eyed might notice I'm adding in an extra note. That's really trying to fill in a little bit. There's quite a big cluster of grace notes there, and I'm just adding an extra note to give you an extra feel of grace noting, a wee bit of gracing. So it's, and rather than, you could go. Just something to try and fill in and get that pipey feel. So let's go for I just stopped. 3, 4. And second measure. So there you go. I think it's a great pipe march, that. Keep your grace notes nice and crisp and clean. Pull out your long notes. Keep the short notes short. Keep it flowing and keep the tempo steady, I would say. But listen to some of the top pipers. But yeah, I do like that tune. So let's move on. I'm going to D here. I'm going to hit turn the page so I'm playing the right thing. But I have thankfully I've marked it. There we go. There we go. That's it now. So another 2/4 pipe march, I thought, is a bit of a theme. We'd stick to the 2/4s. This is a traditional tune called The Siege of Delhi, and there's no a title for a composer here, which it kind of surprises me a little bit, because a lot of these kind of military tunes are tend to be very well documented, but there's nothing here. The Siege of Delhi was part of the Indian Mutiny, and this took place in 1857. And it was a bit of a carry on. It was very bloody, the Indian Mutiny, and there was a lot of kind of civilians murdered initially, kind of the British colonial tea planter types and administrators, so women and children. I think if you've heard of the Black Hole of Calcutta, that took place in that particular time, and so there was a lot of outrage. And so when the British responded, once they kind of got on top of things, it was suppressed extremely brutally. So one of the mutineers, how they executed them actually was they tied them to muzzles of cannons and fired off the cannons. That'll certainly do it, but it was quite notorious, and there was some really dangerous times. I mean, it could have very easily let the British being expelled from India, but they got on top of it anyway. So the Gordon Highlanders were there, took part in this, and I'm just looking at what it says here. The 75th Regiment, which became the 1st Battalion of the Gordon Highlanders, distinguished themselves before the walls of Delhi and gained 3 Victoria Crosses during this period. Ensign Richard Wadeson, Colour Sergeant Cornelius Coghlan, and Private Patrick Green. So, interesting bit of history there. But it's a great tune anyway, so it's a shame we haven't got a title for it, because these military tunes normally have quite a lot of the stuff are recorded. Anyway, I'll play it through first to get a feel for it, but very much in the style of how I played the last tune, so I'm not going to go over style and interpretation because we've done that already. So here we go. Distinctive melody to that in as well. It just occurred to me, this tune as well as the Brig of Fiuch, the last measure, there's a bits with this crossing to the third finger to the third on the E and the A and back again, so it's worth taking that on its own. Now I've got big enough fingers, so I didn't need to jump across from one string to the next, but I can just plant my finger down and I can move it slightly, but to be honest my fingers are big enough that I can I can cover the 2 strings at once without having to move, and that is quite helpful in this type of tune. So like I hear. So that kind of stuff crossing, it's worth taking a wee bit of time. That's probably the trickiest bit to get your fingers round as a fiddle player. And there's no doubt the pipers probably didn't put much thought into how other instruments would play the tunes when they compose. And certainly I didn't think much about how difficult it might be to play on any of my compositions on other instruments. And certainly folk like Robert Burns that used fiddle tunes a lot, it meant a lot of the songs are quite difficult because they use a lot of scope with the fiddle. The pipes have got quite a short range. We've only got 9 notes, so there's not so many scope on the bagpipes, but grace notes help colour the music. I mean, the pipes are just at one tone, one level, 9 notes. So how do you pick colour into that? Well, you can't play louds and softs because they're only one volume, they are loud. So how you've got colour in this, it's the grace notes. And as a fiddler, there's no way I can play what they've got. But there is space for grace notes. I try to put them in to the best of my ability. So right for the beginning, right off the top there. Difficult on bits, wee passages like this. But there. So you've got a crotchet there and then into a quaver. You've got time to play the grace notes. So grace notes, practice them. It's the only way for it. Just practice them and they should get better. So this time I'm going to play it a bit slow and join in if you feel inclined. So here we go. Right. Occurred to me that I definitely sped up as I went along there, but oh well, doesn't really matter. So a couple of good pipe marches there, a couple of tunes I really like. This would be more about this kind of speed. So about that kind of speed. Brygge Fuch. So that's kind of at the speed I would tend to play them at. But yeah, listen to some good pipers. That'll give you everything you need to ken about how to play pipe tunes. Obviously, if you're playing for dancing, it's something like a Canadian barn dance would be, as I said earlier, much a good bit quicker, a bit brisker, but should still maintain that sense of style. This type of tune, I mean, it really is a military thing. I mean, you only have to look at any pipe band in the world, really, and that there are really set up to the style, well, British military bands and pipe bands go back to the 1700s. Well, probably in the early 1800s when you've got proper pipers with drummers, but you can that style and setup of how they arrange their drums and pipes. I mean, they might develop the drum rhythms, but essentially the style and tempo and how they line up is very much based on that military thing. So I doubt 2/4 pipe marches were a thing until the British military came along and had Highland regiments and that had pipers. There would have been march type tunes certainly played on the pipes, but the kind of 6/8 pipe marches, 9/8 retreat marches, 2/4 pipe marches, these are all very much a military thing, to do with military piping. Very much part of the piping tradition, but certainly it comes from that era of the British military having Highland regiments. So enough with the pipe marches just now. I'm going to play a tune that I don't know if I've ever really played it since I wrote it, and I just came upon it. I was looking for someone else to play, and I thought, I'll maybe play one of my own tunes. Now, if I just pick this up just now, I'm going to swap my books. Hello, extreme close up there, folks. I'll put this up here. Oh hell, that's not going to divide. I'll do that. I'll stick it there. Okay. See, if I was working for the BBC, I would have a whole host of stagehands organising nothing for me, but I've done myself. That's difficult. So let's see how we get on with this, because despite having written it, I didn't really ken it. So there may be a flaw in my plan. But actually, when I looked at it, I thought, I actually quite like this tune. I reckon why I never play it. But it's just one of these things. You write tunes and you move on. Some end up in your repertoire. Others just end up at the back with a book somewhere and you forget about them. So I'm going to maybe start playing this. I quite like it. It's called the Old Aberdeen Waltz, because Old Aberdeen is different from the sort of new tune at Aberdeen, and it's got really ancient origins, because Aberdeen's a very, very old city, and Old Aberdeen's got some of the bonniest bits in Aberdeen. There's some really nice bits in Aberdeen. I mean, it's all made of granite by and large, an awful lot out to the Rubesloch Quarry, which was the biggest man-made hole in the world at one time, and it's now about 3/4 sitting full of water because it's nowhere to go. But the old bit of Aberdeen, I mean, it's granite as well, but they're kind of the old style blocks. But it's very picturesque. Things like Marshall College, the High Street down there, the Town House. It's a beautiful bit of town, and St Machair Cathedral is a beautiful building. It's got some of the oldest woodworking that exists to this day in Scotland. So well worth a trip to Aberdeen to see Old Aberdeen. Why this tune's like this, I don't know, it's just what came in my head. So let's have a go. The Old Aberdeen Waltz, if I can play my own tune. If I do say so myself. It's one of these things, it's been quite embarrassing over the years that I book my own music. This is my Loch Gar collection. I ken it's back to front, but look, there you go. Oh, hell's teeth. There's an alarm going off. Why is this phone's a bit buggered together. I'm going to get a new one imminently, but anyway. So, I forgot what I was going to say. My Loch Gar collection. It's in that. It's back to front, I can, but never mind. I find mistakes in my own music, try to teach folk my own tunes, and finding there's bowing mistakes or there's notes not in the right place. Now, I could blame the typesetter, but it could equally be me myself has misnotated it. But certainly when you start playing them, you notice mistakes. This tune, the second measure you repeat, but when you get halfway through, I've marked it onto the music, you play the last half of the first measure. Okay, so you play right through the first measure, you play right through the second measure, you go back and repeat the second measure till about 4 bars in, and then you go to the last 4 bars of the tune. There you go. I hope that was crystal clear, folks. So I'll try it again. We'll try it again. As it's a waltz, then I really need to slow it down too much. I'll maybe take it a wee bit easier. But see how you get on. Let me know what you think. I can see there's various folk are passing by, but I can't really answer. I can't type back and answer your questions. There was a Bruno from France said hello from France. Hello, Bruno. Other than that, I'm seeing 1 or 2 folk looking in. I will answer any questions at the end and give you a thanks for actually looking in. But at the minute, I'm just going to crack on. So let's just play through this a couple times, and I think my work here will be done. So let's see how I go then. 1, 2. Waltz. I think I was kind of inspired by, it's quite a lovely place to just go for a walk around there. There's a lot of old trees, cobbled streets and things like that, and I think it was just a sense of kind of strolling through a nice place was fit. I was really putting across there. It just occurred to me that I'd said Marshall College was at Old Aberdeen. It's nae. It's up near the end of Union Street. Marshall College, second biggest granite building in the world, I'll have you know. Beautiful, beautiful building. And it's second only to a building in Spain. But interestingly enough, the Spanish building is made for the same granite that come from the Rubislaw quarry. So there you go. So kind of got a kind of part of that in his wheel, I would say. But Marshall College is beautiful, but it's nae in Old Aberdeen. Fit I was thinking of is King's College. And King's College Chapel also is well worth a look. So there you go. I spent 3 years as a research fellow at the Elphinstone Institute, and that was a project kind of researching and promoting the North East fiddle tradition. So I spent a lot of time there. I was there every day apart from the weekends, more or less. I try to go in every day, and it's lovely. I do like it down there. So we'll play it again, but up to speed this time, which ironically is not that much quicker than I played it last time. Okay, 1, 2. it, I hadn't made a bollocks of that. Not too seriously, but I noticed myself. Right, folks, well, thanks very much. I hope anybody that's looked in, it's definitely not as busy as it was earlier in the year, but it's surprising how many folk actually look in over the course of a week. So if you have had a look at the workshop, I hope it's been of some interest and maybe you've enjoyed the tunes, possibly a few wee tips along the way. Next thing will be Friday night, live for the lounge. We'll be sitting right here again, Friday night, razzle dazzle, my favourite night of the week. We'll be here with Shona, mere music song, nonsense, good crack, what's in the box, name the dram, let's see if it might happen, who knows, because I probably didn't have a dick if I'm playing yet. So, but there you go, thanks very much for looking in. If you've enjoyed it, much appreciated if you want to chip into the tip jar. It's www.paypal.me/Paul Anderson Shona Dawn. So thanks for looking in by. I do appreciate folk taking the time to see what I'm up to, and I'll be back here next Wednesday and certainly next Friday, and God knows how long. It could be here forever. I'll be old and, well, greyer by that time. So take care, folks, and we'll see you down the road a wee bit. All the best.